I've been a Playboy for over 4 years, and these are the 11 hardest lessons that I have learned throughout my journey. Starting with the first one, which is girls are more insecure than they seem. This is something I have noticed time and time again. When I was younger, I used to think that these girls who were hot were so secure, they were so confident, but as I leveled up myself and I started to play the field, I started to realize that a ton of girls are desperately insecure. Even the girls who come across as very confident, very charismatic, deep down, a lot of them have insecurity because they haven't really had to earn anything. They've been given their beauty and they've kind of just interacted with the world socially and had a good time, and nothing deep down has really made them fulfilled inside. This is something that I've learned after having a lot of deep conversations with girls. I remember I was on a date about a month and a half ago, and one girl who was super confident, super charismatic, it seemed, she said that deep down sometimes she looks in the mirror and she doesn't feel so good about herself and she wonders, where does this confidence come from? So this is something that you will notice time and time again. And do not let a beautiful girl intimidate you or make you feel insecure because she's beautiful. A lot of these girls are more insecure than you would ever imagine. And this second lesson is really important, which is that looks will get you in the door, but charisma keeps you there. See, when I was younger, this was one of the biggest things that I struggled with, was actually talking to girls. I never put myself out there. I always had so many limiting beliefs about what I would say, if I'd say the wrong thing. I just was so nervous to do anything. And the thing is, at 19, I pretty much looked exactly how I do now. I had a similar amount of muscle. I was even more ripped, so my abs were more protruding, super obvious, same exact face. But yet, the big factor that held me back from having success was the fact that I had no charisma, no communication, and no confidence in what I was doing. And this really is what held me back. So at the end of 19, right before I turned 20, I picked up a couple of books on social skills, nonverbal communication, and charisma. And this is what really changed everything for me. I did a complete 180, and I was able to go into my interactions with confidence, knowing what I was going to say, what I was going to do, how to carry myself, and it absolutely changed the game for me. The first time I really had a ton of success was after reading those books and solo traveling to Sweden. And being there for only 5 weeks, I absolutely cleaned up and ended up getting with 7 girls in 5 weeks. It was just one of those things that was a peak experience that changed my life forever, and it allowed me to truly develop some real self-belief and confidence in what I was doing. And for that reason, charisma is so important. So I built every single one of you guys a charisma mastery guide, which is going to break down all the verbal things that you need to do, the nonverbal things. It's so powerful so that you can make this transformation as well. And that's completely for free. It's the first link in the description below. And a lot of people underestimate the power of this third lesson, which is that timing is one of the most important factors. You can get with almost any girl, 11 out of 10 beautiful girls, if the timing is right and if the situation is conductive of success. See, if the timing is not right, if she is closed for business, if she has had an argument with her friends, her family, if she's in a relationship, a situationship, girls are so particular to their moods, and the littlest thing can make them not open to your approach. And this is one of the biggest factors in your ability to have success with girls, and that's why they say it's a numbers game. You really can't control these factors, and if you just see one pretty girl, go up to her, and that's your one try that you're gonna go for, you're gonna set yourself up for a life of failure with girls. You need to be able to take rejection on the chin, be okay with it, understand that it's not personal, that there's something in this girl's own reality that's causing her to not be open to your approach, and you need to go on to the next and find someone who is open and receptive to you. This is one of the biggest factors that a lot of people underestimate, and they take things way too personally. I cannot tell you how many times I get rejected, things don't go my way, I have conversations that lead nowhere. This is one of the biggest factors of being a Playboy, is just putting yourself out there and not caring too much about any one interaction, just trying to have fun with it and not have too many expectations when you do talk to girls. If there's a vibe, and if you like a girl and the energy is right and there's a vibe, you can take it as far as you want. But you can't go into every interaction thinking that this is going to be your future girlfriend or you're going to sleep with this girl, because it's a very unrealistic, flawed mindset, because so many girls are not going to be receptive to your approach at that moment. But if you got them at the right time, they would be. So it's kind of just having this lighthearted, playful mindset where you're just going to go and talk to girls, see how things go, and if they go really well, they go well, and if not, no big deal. you'll get them another time. And I tell you, there's so many times when I talk to a girl and then months or even years later, I ended up getting with her or getting with her again because the timing was just right. So that is just how things go, and you need to just accept this. And this fourth lesson is really what changed the game for me at 19, which is that real life interactions will get you results. I was just swiping on dating apps from 18 to 19, and I got some matches, but I never went on a single date. I was struggling for the longest time to have any success with girls. I lacked confidence, like I told you before, I lacked communication and charisma, and I just didn't have any sort of success. But when I started to put myself out there with the charisma, with the confidence, this is when things really started to change for me. And I learned that being in person is one of the most powerful things. And I have an analogy that I think will help a lot of you guys, especially if you're more on the insecure side or if you compare yourself to others too much, which is that, let's say you see a sports car driving down the road. Maybe it's a previous generation. Maybe it's a couple years older. Are you thinking of all the other sports cars that there are, and are you comparing them to that one? Or are you like, oh, well, that one only has 400 horsepower. It's not like the Lambo that has 1,000 or whatever. No, you just are like, oh, that's a nice sports car. That's pretty cool. And you kind of acknowledge it, and you're like, oh, nice. And then you keep going about your day, right? It's kind of the same thing when you interact with a girl. You are the option that's directly in front of her. You know, so on dating apps, she's got all these options. She's swiping. I've seen girls' Tinders before, girls who I've slept with. I've looked through their Tinder. It's just red dots everywhere, matches, fucking messages. You know, they have so many options. It's genuinely insane. But when you're right in front of a girl and you're charismatic and you're confident and you're just a fun, nice guy, you are the option that's directly in front of her. Kind of how you see that car drive down the road, you're like, oh, that's a nice, cool car. It's kind of that same mindset when you go up and talk to a girl. If you're a nice, fun, cool guy, she's like, oh, this is a nice, fun, cool guy. Yeah, let me give him my info and then maybe we can go on a date or whatever. And it's not that serious, right? So in person is where you can really make shit happen. At least this has been my experience with dating and just putting myself out there. And this fifth lesson is that if you hesitate, someone else won't. And I was the guy who hesitated for the first 19 years of my life. Every single time I saw an attractive girl that I wanted to talk to, I wouldn't do it, and I would end up feeling so bad about myself, and I would always be filled with regret after. And now I'm the guy who just goes after what I want, and I don't care because I would rather get a rejection than feel regret. Regret is that worst feeling to have. Even just sometimes when I miss an opportunity at the gym where it's like, I probably could have tried to squeeze it in, and I get that little feeling of regret, like, fuck, I should have tried. It's so annoying because the thing is, there's someone else out there who will try and who will succeed. And that's kind of how it is. It's a very competitive marketplace where it's like, if you're not the one doing it, someone else will, and someone else will succeed. And they could be further back objectively than you in many different areas, but just because they put themselves out there, they will be the one to succeed. I can't tell you how many guys there are that are taller than me, more handsome than me, bigger physiques, more money, that don't have success with girls because they don't put themselves out there enough. And I'm the guy who has success because I'm just putting myself out there as a fun, cool, charismatic guy. So you got to do the same thing yourself. And this sixth thing is an absolute game changer, which is that understanding most attraction is built non-verbally. See, a lot of my attraction is built in my eye contact and my smile, really focusing on the warmth, charismatic cues, which is outlined in the guide, by the way, is going to be a game changer for you. You don't need to communicate your interest vocally because it kills a lot of the mystery and attraction that you could have been building. When you communicate it with just a big smile and eye contact and you stare into a girl's eyes and you have a great conversation and then you go and you make a move, that's so much more attractive than just outright saying something or asking a girl if you can kiss her like I did when I was 18. Like, those things kill attraction. You just need to be very confident, and doing that, being very confident and displaying your interest non-verbally is actually one of the ways that you can be extremely confident and present yourself as very confident, is just holding extremely strong eye contact with a girl, smiling, very open, relaxed body language. This will change the game for you. And this next thing is really important, and a lot of guys don't want to hear this, which is that most of my game is just improving myself. Literally every single day, I have so many things that I do that move the needle in terms of improving myself consistently. One of the biggest and most impactful things that I have done over the last 3, almost 4 years at this point, is having a morning routine that really allows me to develop true internal confidence and develop myself mentally. Because when I was 19, I had the good physique, like I told you. I was ripped, six-pack, looked like this, but I had no confidence. And doing a morning routine of daily disciplined acts that not only build trust in my word, but also build myself up internally, give me good mental health benefits, was one of the biggest things that changed my life. So even during times when I had downs, failing businesses, I had this thing that was constantly internally validating myself and allowing me to know who I am at my core. So my morning routine is real simple. It just consists of meditation, gratitude, journaling, and reading. And those were the things that really moved the needle for me consistently. Besides that, I'm always in the gym. I just picked back up martial arts. I try and do businesses all the time. I have this business that I'm working on currently, which is my YouTube and coaching business, but I had previous businesses, some that failed, some that succeeded. It's a constant improvement. And that's really what will drive results for you with girls, is improving yourself and building your value as a man. And this 8th one is really important for guys to understand, which is that the highest form of status you have is your body and building a very attractive physique. See, if you have all the money in the world, but you are fat with bad style and you're not charismatic and no one likes you, you're not going to succeed with girls. And having a good physique is that one thing that will open the door for you for as many girls as possible. See, when you're attractive to girls, it's really hard to say something wrong. Like if Margot Robbie, that's my favorite actress, at least in terms of attractiveness, came up to me and she used some cheesy pickup line, I would just go along with it. Like I wouldn't give a fuck. And a lot of girls are the same way. I'm not saying to use cheesy pickup lines because I personally don't do that. But when I go up to a girl and I just ask her name and introduce myself, if she likes me, she's just going to go with it. That's kind of how it works. So you don't need to try too hard when you're attractive. When you're attractive, it kind of just works out for you. See, I'm not that guy who's out here trying to spit game or be a Rizzler or say this at this time and it'll increase your chance of success. I think that's autistic and I think it's stupid. I think if a girl finds you attractive, you don't have to do too much if you understand the basics of charisma and communication, how to hold a conversation, you will do fine. But a lot of you guys haven't improved yourself to the degree necessary to have as many opportunities as possible. And your body is the number one area that you need to prioritize, especially as a young man. This is really what's going to get you the most amount of success. Money is not going to change anything if you're not charismatic, good looking, in shape. It's just the truth, right? So you got to get your body dialed in first. And this is really what will make so much of a difference for you. And this next one's really important that guys understand, which is that too much validation kills mystery. And the way that I go and talk to girls is a little different. Of course, she's beautiful, and that's the reason why I'm talking to her. But I kind of want to see, is she a good person? Do I actually like her and vibe with her? That is why I focus on just having a meaningful conversation and developing a connection. And I start with just some basic rapport building questions and then ask follow-up questions, get a little bit deeper as it goes, if there's the vibe, of course. If not, I'll just, excuse myself and leave and say it was nice to meet her, but I'll take the conversation as far as it can go if there's a vibe. And that's really the mindset that I come with. It's like, yeah, of course, I'm talking to this girl because she's beautiful. I'm not going to talk to a fat, ugly girl. But then it comes down to the qualify mindset. I have a high value on myself, so it's like, I'm not just going to try and be like, overly expressing interest right off the bat. I'm going to try and see, do I actually like this girl? And it gives her an opportunity to qualify herself. She also sees you as an equal. When you start to do this, you're kind of just talking to her like a normal person instead of trying to pedestalize her, which is only going to fuck your chances. So really understand that too much validation kills mystery. And understand too that you can validate girls, just not in the early stages. If you have a girlfriend, yeah, validate her. There's nothing wrong with that. But just don't do it when you're just meeting a girl. Have kind of more of that qualify mindset and try and see, is she an actual good person that you vibe with? And when it comes to displaying confidence and how you actually showcase it, this next thing is really what is the most confident thing that you can do, which is having strong eye contact. See, there's nothing more confident than looking someone directly in their eyes and being calm, relaxed, and even just smiling. This is what showcases confidence more than anything else. If you can't look at a girl in her eyes, or if you look at a girl and look away, you look like a bitch. That's why you're not having success with girls, because you can't just hold eye contact. I was in Norway grabbing my jacket one time when I saw this attractive girl and we were kind of crossing paths, but I stared into her eyes and smiled, and she goes, strong eye contact, and I said, always. And we kind of just laughed and went our separate ways. But that's kind of just how you have to be. If you just hold strong eye contact with every single girl you see, you're going to be perceived in such a different light. Girls are going to know that you're comfortable around them, that you're confident. It's only a guy who can't look a girl in her eyes that is going to be seen as insecure. If you at least hold a healthy amount of eye contact, you'll be seen as more confident. Let alone if you just stare into a girl's eyes like I do. There's so many times when girls will literally push away my jaw like that because I look into their eyes too deeply. And they'll sometimes say, like, I feel like you're stealing my soul. I get this all the time. And it's never a bad thing. It is never a bad thing to hold too much eye contact. This is something that I hear time and time again from every girl I'm interacting with is, you look into my eyes too deeply. And that's if you get that, that's a good thing. So hold more eye contact if you want to be perceived as confident. And this last thing is something I really want to emphasize, which is that rejection happens no matter who you are. And you just have to be able to be okay with it. If you can't accept rejection, you are not going to succeed in this life, let alone with girls. All I do is get rejected. Whether it is with girls, I get rejected all the time. With sales, I've been doing sales for 3-4 years now. I get rejected constantly on sales calls. With my YouTube channel, I make so many videos and I have a video, I'm like, oh man, I think this one's going to go viral. And then it ends up flopping and it's just a letdown. That's a kind of a rejection. There's constant rejection no matter what you do in life. And if you cannot accept rejection and kind of just shrug it off and move forward with the same positive, optimistic attitude, you're really going to struggle in this life. And another thing is, like with sales, if you have a 20 or 30% close ratio in sales, meaning you close 2 or 3 out of the 10 deals that you talk to, the 10 prospects you talk to, you close 2 or 3 of them, you're considered a great salesman. So kind of understand that when you're going and talking to girls. It's like if you have 2 or 3 good conversations out of 10, consider that a win. If you sleep with 2 or 3 out of 10 girls, consider that a win. You don't need to sleep with every single girl. That's a terrible mindset to have, or even just to expect that every interaction is going to go good. Is just such a flawed mindset. You got to understand that rejection is inevitable, and the sooner you can accept this, the sooner you will have more success. And another thing to kind of think about too is to have a little bit of empathy and understand that everyone is going on their unique journey. Girls have so many things that they're going through in their own lives that make them reject you. A lot of the times it's never personal, kind of going back to that timing point from earlier. It's not personal. Just let it go. Don't let rejection get to you. Don't let any of these things become a bigger deal than they have to be. Understand that everyone's on their own path, learning lessons, making mistakes. I can't tell you how many mistakes I've made in my journey and stupid things that I've done. And it's just part of the learning journey. It's part of being human. You can't take things too personally. I'm making mistakes. Girls are making mistakes. Everyone is making mistakes. So if someone makes a mistake and it's on your expense, just don't let it be too big of a deal. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. Everyone's lives are going to go on, and you're either going to go and talk to the next girl with a positive, optimistic attitude, or you're going to let this ruin your night, your week, your month, and really set yourself off on a negative downward path. So don't let rejection get to you. Take it on the chin. Be proud of yourself for putting yourself out there, and this is going to cause you to have so much success. And once again, if you guys want my charisma mastery guide, which is really going to change the game for you between the verbal things to say, the non-verbal cues to do that are going to make you so charismatic and warm and make girls really want to interact with you, that's completely for free. It's the first link in the description below.